Alright, this is Weapon X Reacts and we're back with another video, and this is gonna be a review of F1, which is a new film directed by Joseph Kosinski and it stars Brad Pitt, Damson Idris and Javier Bardem. And to me, this was one of the most entertaining films that I have ever seen this year, and it's actually nice seeing Joseph Kosinski go from directing films like Top Gun Maverick to moving on to directing sport dramas like this one right here. And it reminded me of another film I watched called Rush 2014, which is a great movie that I totally recommend you watch once in your life. And I thought Top Gun Maverick was the best film of 2022. And it's a movie you will never get from Hollywood ever again. And while I liked F1, it did have a lot of problems that I will get into later on, and I just want to say that there are moments in this movie that are extremely cliched and cheesy at times, and to me, they just don't work. I'm gonna break down the plot of this film. So, in the 1990s, Sonny Hayes was Formula One's most promising driver until an accident on the track nearly ended his career. 3 years later, the owner of a struggling Formula One team convinces Sonny to return to racing and become the best in the world, while driving alongside the team's hotshot rookie, Joseph Pierce. And this is where he realizes that the path to redemption is not something you can do alone. And I thought the story was pretty generic and predictable in my opinion. But still, this was an enjoyable movie that we just don't see from Hollywood nowadays. And I just want to let you know that this is one of the only films that came out this year that is an original project. And in an era of remakes, prequels, sequels, and spin-offs, it's actually amazing that we have films like this coming out. And the racing scenes are easily one of the best parts about the film. And it's one of the main reasons of why this movie should be seen in IMAX. And did you know that they use real cars for this movie? And to me, it does a great job of showing you that it's more than just getting in the car and driving. It's that the people practice real hard before even getting on the track. And I just want to say that this is a film that respects its audience and the subject matter it's based on. Also, Shea Whittingham was just so entertaining in this movie. And he was only in the opening scene. Also, for a 2 hour and 36-minute movie, it moves very quickly because it was just so entertaining to watch. Brad Pitt was pretty good as Sonny Hayes, and he was very charismatic in the role. Also, one thing that I liked about his performance is that he does a great job of showing you that this is a man who had a very successful career in the past, until he got into a crash while racing in Spain. And it is done in a way that is actually kind of compelling. And it's just weird to me that Brad Pitt is in his 60s now. And to me, I think it fits really well with his character, as he is the person that's been doing this kind of shit for a long time. And overall, Brad Pitt truly makes this movie watchable. And while it's not one of his best performances, it's still a pretty good one. Damson Idris was absolutely amazing as Joshua Pierce. And to me, I think that this is one of his best performances since Snowfall. And if you haven't seen that show, I totally recommend you check it out, as it is one of the greatest crime dramas ever made. And what makes this film so good is that the rivalry between him and Sonny is extremely complex and well written. Also, one thing that he does such a good job at is showing how arrogant his character is throughout the movie. And the scene of where his car is set on fire is emotionally intense. And overall, this character was just so entertaining to watch, and is easily one of the main reasons of why you should check this film out. And you should see this film on the biggest screen possible, because along with the sound and the racing scenes, it's just an absolute blast in IMAX. Because if you see it in a normal screening, then it's just a normal film. Also, the supporting cast did a pretty good job in their roles, especially from Javier Bardem and Kerry Condon, who starts off as an arrogant bitch and then develops into someone that grows to accept Sonny Hayes as a person and a race car driver. Also, I thought the soundtrack from Hans Zimmer was just fantastic and absolutely epic. And it makes this film even better than it already is. And I'm gonna show you an example of it right now. Also, this is not the usual music that he uses for his films, as it's got a very synthwave feel to it. And I fucking love it. This film just took me back to a time of where Hollywood actually gave a fuck about telling you good stories and entertaining you, which is what this movie does such a good job at. Also, I will be getting copyright, so I'll just turn the sound down. Also, I thought the additional music, especially the one from Dean Tolliver, Lose My Mind, is just amazing, and I listen to it a lot every single time. Also, Hans Zimmer is just one of the best composers ever, and his work with Christopher Nolan fucking shows that. Also, later on in the video, I will be talking about Claudio Miranda's cinematography, as it's just absolutely stunning to look at. This is a well-shot movie, man. Also, did you know that Jerry Bruckheimer is doing a spin-off of Days of Tomorrow starring Tom Cruise? But with Brad Pitt with it too. Shit. Please, Hollywood. Can you stop with the fucking spin-offs? The soundtrack fits so well with this movie, especially with the racing scenes. Just makes it more and more epic than it already is. That's Hans Zimmer for you. With every score, he just makes every movie better, even if the movie's shit. Just look at Dark Phoenix. The film was so bad, but you will admit that the score was fucking amazing. Also, one problem I had with this movie is that some of the dialogue was just cringe-worthy. But still, it doesn't excuse the fact that this film is just an absolute masterpiece that needs to be seen. Also, I thought the cinematography by Claudio Miranda was pretty good, and one of the main reasons of why I liked it is that it fits really well with the tone of the film, and it does a great job at immersing you into the film's story and the racing scenes. And I just want to let you know that this is the same cinematographer that worked with Joseph Kosinski in almost every film that he has directed. And I think that he did an amazing job with this movie. And it shows that perfectly. And he didn't just work with Joseph Kosinski in his films, but he also worked with other directors like David Fincher and Ang Lee. This is the rating that this film got on Rotten Tomatoes, and it looks really positive from the critics and the audiences, with a critic score of 84% and an audience score of 97%, which is really good for a film like this. And I'm going to read out the reviews right now, and I just want to let you know that this is from the critics. So for the first review, the film features a predictable and familiar storyline, but Kosinski's strong direction and a solid ensemble of talented actors, led by Brad Pitt, succeed in making F1 a compelling and exciting motorsports-themed adventure. For the second one, the style overwhelms the narrative in a way that makes it the perfect summer escape. And I absolutely agree with that, as this movie is the perfect summer blockbuster of 2025. For the third review, it's Brad Pitt goes fast and then smiles at you in a slightly cheeky way. It's the very definition of popcorn movie. See it on a huge, big screen. And I actually agree with that statement, as it was just a fun film that tries to do its job, which is entertaining you. And that is one thing that modern Hollywood has forgotten about nowadays. And just as I read these reviews, it just shows to me that this film deserves all the praise it's getting. And it's also one of those movies that Hollywood just does not make anymore. And I just want to let you know that some people even call this movie the Top Gun Maverick of 2025. And I just want to say that this film is not better than Top Gun Maverick, because while they're amazing movies, Top Gun Maverick just takes it as it was just an entertaining film that respected the original and tried to give the audience what they wanted, which is a good story that doesn't lecture them with woke identity politics every single time, because that's what writers like to do now. They like to bash you on the head with their garbage. And people are just sick and tired of it! I'm going to explain the ending of this film, and I just want to say that the final race scene is easily one of the best scenes in this whole movie, all due to the fact that it was just so powerful. And then the scene ends and it shows Sonny Hayes getting the win, for not just him, but for the whole team. And then Kate meets Sonny on top of a balcony, and then they kiss. And Sonny says that he has made the decision to quit Formula One. And I think the reason why he did it was because, to him, racing wasn't about fame or money. It was because he loved it. And he also tells her that he felt a moment of peace and calm when he was behind the wheel. And then we see a scene of Joshua and Sonny saying goodbye to each other. And I just want to say that this scene really shows how they were both able to work together, all to achieve the same goal. And then we see Sonny Hayes go in a Baja to compete for another racing team. And then the film ends. And to me, this was a perfect ending to a film like this. And I even heard that this movie may get a future sequel. And I actually want to see how they're going to do it. And to me, it's nice seeing movies coming from Hollywood that are made for men, like this one right here, because this movie just oozes testosterone. Also, I thought Joseph Kosinski's directing was really good, and it's on the same level of when he directed Top Gun Maverick. And he did an amazing job at making a movie that shows Formula One for what it is, and that it's more than just driving cars or for a championship. I'm gonna show you the trailers of this film, starting with the first one.
Some people look at Sonny Hayes.
Also, you know what I think is the best racing movie ever made?
A gambling junkie.
It's Ford v Ferrari. That movie was just a fucking masterpiece, man.
But I see possibility. My rook is a phenomenal talent, but he's young. You plus him. Boom. Ability. When's the last time you won a race? Sunday, Daytona. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Formula One. Oh, I'm sorry. Then same as you.
Oh yeah, and I just want to let you know that these two characters both hated each other at the start of the film. And one thing I liked about is that they were both able to work together, and then they became friends. Which I like because the acting from Damson Idris and Brad Pitt was just absolutely amazing, man.
There's this new guy. He's old. He's such a prick. He's quite dull.
Get any constructive criticism for each other, what would it be?
Don't be such an autistic kid. That was constructive. Wow. Did you win something? There's 20 other drivers still out on that track. Do you think any of them respect us?
They're saying Sonny Hayes isn't a has-been. He's a never was.
If the last thing I do is drive that car, I will take that life, man. 1,000 times. I'm offering you an open seat in Formula One. The only place you could say if you win, you are the absolute best in the world.
Also, the marketing for this movie was heavenly done by Formula One. And I think maybe they did a great job with that. Especially with the people that made this movie. Because they really gave a shit about F1. Also, in conclusion, this was an amazing film, and it's a great reminder that people just want great movies, and this film is just an absolute masterclass when it comes to the cinematography, acting, and directing. And this film is doing pretty good at the box office too, making $165 million worldwide, with a budget of $300 million. And to me, this film is the perfect return to good filmmaking. And it just shows how fucking dumb Hollywood is. And they will still continue to push their woke nonsense onto you no matter what. And guess what? Nobody gives a fuck anymore. Also, while other movies like Ford v Ferrari are better, F1 is still an enjoyable sport drama movie that felt like it was made by people who knew what they were doing. And it all worked out perfectly. And I would have liked this film way more if it was based on a true story. But anyway, that's just me. Also, anyway, that's all I got for today. Go away now, and always remember, strike back like a weapon against wokeness, and go watch this movie. Because it's an experience you will never forget.